Just going live here on YouTube. Just started. Did you find some goodies? Oh, yeah. Hello, welcome in. We're just getting started here. You're first in the house. If you have a free Yes No question, post in the chat. We'll do it for you. Hopefully, you're doing well this morning and your Monday morning is going well, or evening, wherever you're at in the world. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hello. We're doing free Yes No's in the chat. Are you guys able to comment? Is it working? Let me know if I've got the chat settings done right. Says all messages, so it should be good. Hey, thanks for the thumbs up, whoever did that. Appreciate it. We're doing free Yes No in the chat. How do you guys feel about all signs? We might do an all signs here at some point as well. If you guys are down for all signs readings. Just let us know in the chat. Is this thing on? Are you guys able to comment? Could somebody comment in the chat just to see if this thing's working right? That would be very helpful. All right. Set this to the side. Hello, welcome in. Doing free Yes No in the chat. Are you guys able to comment at all? I'm gonna look at the let's see what it says. Top messages. See if that helps. Yeah, we'll leave this one up. It's the Visconti deck. Kristen Menka said hello. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay. It is working. Wonderful. All right. Well, we're doing free Yes No in the chat. Let us know what your question is. Otherwise, we might switch to just like an all signs. You guys can take what resonates and leave the rest. If you guys aren't in the interacting mood, we don't have to do that. What are we playing? We're not playing. We're actually doing tarot readings. And that's what we do. That's our business. Hi there, Joe Beth. Joe Beth Dinacola. Dinacola. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. We're doing Free Yes No in the chat. You guys would rather we could do in all signs and just go through the different signs? I know that's. Is it like a card game? I think we're going to switch to all signs, actually. We're going to do that. All right. So let's see. Name your sign in the chat, and we'll kind of take them as they come. So to answer your question, Kristen, tarot is a divination system that's pretty old. It goes way back for about four to 500 years. We started seeing decks pop up in the 1600s that were used for divination purposes. The first of which being the Tarot of Marseille. This would be the first deck that they came out with for that purpose. Before that, it was used in Italy among the elite to play a card game called Tarocchi. So, yeah, that's more or less it in a nutshell. So we got Leos in the house. Super duper. We got Leos. Well, let's start with Leos since you're here. And we'll get going. You guys ready to rock and roll? Let's do it. Thanks for the thumbs up, whoever that was. We've got a couple thumbs up now. Are you guys ready to go? How many Leos do we have in the house right now? All right, let's do the Leos. So let's look at a couple different categories for each sign. We'll look at, well, let's see here. Let's see what houses we have with our tea leaf reading cards. Okay, and we'll just go that route. So these are the months of the year. All right, let's look at. We won't be looking at health questions. Let's see, that one actually goes in here. Am I almost done yet? Okay, let's see here. So let's look at wealth. Maybe we'll even do just love, success, and we'll do career. So success could include, money, things like that. You're going to the next one. Well, bye. Spoken like a true Leo. Okay, so we're not going to do Leo first. We're going to move on. Comment your sign in the chat. We'll start with that. Either that or I will pick. I feel actually inclined to do Aries. Do we have an Aries in the chat today? The Leo was commenting, "Is this like a card game?" And I was like, "Do you know what tarot is?" So I explained that. And they're like, "Well, I'm a Leo." And then they're like, I'm going to the next one. So they left because they couldn't wait for me to start the all signs. Isn't that just like a Leo though? If it isn't immediate gratification, to hell with this noise. All right. So we're going to start with Leo. Sorry. We're actually going to do Leo's last because of that. So if you were a Leo, due to that person, you're going to have to wait to the very end. We got Aries. What do you want to do next, Brooms? Huh? Taurus. All right. And then we'll do Capricorns, Virgos after that. And then comment your sign in the chat if you want to be after Virgo. I already shared it out to Discord. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we've got Aries, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, and then we'll see where we go from there. Yeah, I'm going to the next one. Isn't that weird? All right. Well, I unhid them anyways. You what? Okay, perfect. All right, we're doing all signs. We're getting ready to get started. We're starting with Aries. If you'd like to comment your sign, we can look at the order of things and pop it in there. You're back. Had to put you in a little timeout. If you're here to troll, I will just remove you. But if you're here to get reading, feel free to stick around. But we have zero tolerance, so. All right, starting with Aries. Weird. Don't know what happened there. All right, we got actually somebody requesting up Virgo here. Sandra Thurmond requesting a Virgo. All right, well, let's skip it around. We'll do Virgo. All right. Starting with Virgo in the love department. These are general readings for all signs. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Let's start with Virgo in the love department. Looks like someone's building something here, working on a relationship, doing all the things that's necessary to build trust in our relationships. So this is a long-term type of relationship. It doesn't seem like it's something that would be a fly-by-night type of thing. Over here, it seems like we have some sort of Discord, and not the kind that's an app on your phone. It looks like there's some like defensiveness or something here. Seems like a lack of clarity is causing this. And here with the Hanged Man, it seems like the Virgo is dealing with like a paradigm shift and maybe seeing things from a different perspective, which could be as a result of this defensiveness. It seems like Virgo, you kind of have to get out of your shell or try to see the other person in this relationship.
Hey, Stacy, welcome in. We're reading for Virgo right now. Good timing.
Yeah, we just started the Virgo. Oh, thanks for the coffee. So, it's important that we're making steps, Virgo, in our love life. We're doing things that, have a real material effect over our love life. So rather than, kind of stay in our own way, we're shifting our mindset, we're shifting our paradigm here with the hangman. When it comes to our love, it's important that we see the other person, Virgo. I think that we can get stuck in our own perspectives and not really see where the other person is coming from. So it might be important for us to kind of open our viewpoints. Let's see what else we have here for success with our Virgos. So maybe this is finances, um, material wealth, things like this. We have strength card popping in. Oh, yes, those internal blocks. Maybe it's self sabotage, Virgo. Maybe it's like the way we talk to ourselves, Maybe it's some of our internal mechanisms that slow us down. I think that the way we speak to ourselves and our self-talk is limiting us as Virgos. It's not that we don't have what it takes. That's certainly not the case. It's how we speak to ourselves. It's how we believe in ourselves or the lack thereof. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the stream. So we're currently on Virgos. We're doing an all signs. We're looking at 3 different categories here for our signs today, just for grins. So we've already discussed some things in the love department. We're expanding our horizons, our viewpoints. We're trying to see the other person, where they're coming from, because I think that we can kind of get stuck in our heads, and we certainly see that here, Virgo, with the Eight of Swords. So moving forward, how do we get outside of that? How do we actively seek that other person's viewpoint so that we can understand where they're coming from? All right, and then we have, I'm going to move this over just a little bit, y'all. Just a little bit. How are you, Stacy? How's it going this morning? There we go. Now you can see the career. All right. Career side of things, got the Ace of Wands. Thank you, Sandra, for commenting on that. Really appreciate the feedback. All right. So this is good sign for your career. This is like new potential, initiatory step towards the way you view happiness in your career, Virgo. So I think it kind of needs to have some structure. It kind of needs to make sense for you, Virgo, because if you're just doing it and there's no mission, there's no reason behind it, it seems like we're finding our why here. And so it's important that we know our motivations. And I would venture to guess we know what those are, Virgo. It's just a matter of making them happen. And with the Nine of Pentacles, this is a material gain. This is like we're making some headway, Virgo. It looks like things in your career are picking up in some way. And it begins with one small step. It begins with, some sort of action that you can take in order to make that happen. So, being the case that, we're making some headway here, what is it that you envision, Virgo, to be a good result because we are results based here. We're looking at the bottom dollar. We're looking at upward mobility, Virgo. And it's important that we're seeing that progress in some sort of material way. So, Virgo, what can you do today to help manifest your career objectives? Is it applying for a new position at your company? Is it changing your role? Is it moving companies? It's important that we take the steps to make that happen. I'm going to mute for just a second. Had a little frog in my throat there. You keep hitting the wrong buttons. Don't do it. Let's do some oracle on top of this, Virgo, just to see if we can flesh out a few extra things. You know, when it comes to our love life, again, we need to be doing things and taking the steps to build clarity and a place of sanctuary within our relationships. We have to get out of our own way. We have to stop being defensive with our people, our partners. We have to try to see that other viewpoint, even if just for a moment. We have to understand where they're coming from. That's going to ease tensions in your love life. With success, it's self-sabotage here. We have to get out of our own way. We have to stop telling ourselves it won't work, or we're not deserving of it. Instead, we look towards the future and we speak kindly to ourselves. And then just career, like take the step, take a step. Um, I love my job. Keep fighting for a raise. No, you're not going to get one unless you ask for it, and that's a certitude. Starfish spirit, open to infinite possibility. So, one of the things about starfish that, people find, or at least I find strange, and I think a lot of people find this strange as well, is that, if they are dismembered, so let's say they lose, one of their stars in some sort of freak accident, that arm fully regenerates into another starfish. But also the original starfish regenerates its arm. So Virgo is, we're kind of up and down, in and out of different scenarios. We're having successes, we're having ruts. All of these things are temporary. And you can really build anything with what you have, literally anything. And I think that's the limiting thing here, the limiting thought with the Eight of Swords that's causing such a sticking point in our personal development, Virgo, is that we tell ourselves that it's not infinite. We can't do just anything. That's probably happened in your life. People are like, well, you can't do that. What makes you think you can do all of these things, Virgo? Well, because you can. And, I think that somewhere along the way, we've been told that we can't. We got the squirrel spirit, believe in yourself. I think that kind of goes without saying, and that's part of the problem with the Eight of Swords is like we don't believe in ourselves, Virgo. And it's like, but we can. But we can start practicing positive self-talk. And even though that sounds cliche, it's something that we hear all the time. It is important. And it does have real positive consequences. Co-create with spirit or not, depending on your own belief systems. Maybe it's just co-creating with the universe. The universe has infinite possibilities. We looked at the starfish spirit and we saw that, there really are infinite possibilities here. It's just that we tell ourselves, Virgo, that we can't, or that won't happen to us, or we're undeserving, or so and so deserves it more, or whatever the BS is that we try to choke down to self-limit ourselves. It's time to stop that. It's time to start creating. And today is the day. It's just time to start, Virgo. So, Virgo, it looks like, we have some things to work on. We have some clarity. We have some broadening of our viewpoint in our love life. We have some self-sabotage and some things that we can work out in our general success and in our career. We just need to do something. But I think that the something with the Ace of Wands is dependent on our ability to kind of get past those self limitations that we impose on ourselves, Virgo. So, looks like shadow work's necessary here for us, Virgos, and then we can kind of get past some of these things and unlock some new potentials. So start there. If you are limiting yourself, ask yourself, why am I limiting myself? What types of things do I believe about myself that are possible limitations for me? And how do I counter that? Like, what are some things that I can affirm for myself that are positive, that counteract those negative things? Connor, Isla, and Remy say hi. Do they really? Are they talking cats?
They are.
They talk now?
Yes, they've always talked.
That's fantastic. All right, guys, don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're enjoying the stream. Thanks for joining us. We're doing all signs. We just finished with the Virgos. Sandra, that was resonating pretty hard for you. I'm glad that was helpful to you. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, it is completely free, and then you can be notified when we're going live next. If you're enjoying these all signs, let us know in the comments. We appreciate any feedback there. You'll take it. It's pretty straightforward. Us Virgos can just get in our own way. All right. We've got, let's see here. We've got Pisces, Aquas, Cancer. We'll be doing Leo last because we had a unruly Leo that needed to do some shadow work come in.
That's never happened.
Okay, let's see. We've got Aries, Taurus, Capricorn. We just did Virgo. We've got Pisces, Aquarian, Cancer. Who do you think we should do next? Maybe the Scorpios. It is Scorpio season, is it not?
I'm like moving into it. I think it's like today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
I also have a new moon.
You're welcome, Sandra. Thanks so much. Appreciate you for popping in and participating with us today. And do look for us to come back, Sandra. Okay, well, let's start there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got a couple more to go. Let's see here. Who do you think we should do next in the queue, my dear? We'll do Leo's last.
I say Taurus because I mean.
Okay, let's do Taurus next. So we're currently doing Taurus.
Listening.
You're listening?
Listening.
Super duper. We have any folks with Taurus placements in their house, in any of their houses? We're looking at love life here, general success and career. So this would include finances.
Stacey said Libra, so we could do Libra.
Let's do a Libra then.
We're just coming out of Libra season.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got Libra. We will do Libra. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
We can do whatever we want.
Whatever we want.
All right, Libras. Bring on the Libras. We got any Libras in here? Isn't Randy a Libra? Welcome in. We're doing all signs. We're currently on Libra. We just finished with Virgo. We'll do timestamps at some point here. We had a big lull when we started too, so we'll probably have to edit that off. All right. Randy is a Libra. Let's see what's going on for Libras here. So we'll start with the love department here. So it looks like a Libra is got the 8 of Wands. Libra, I think it's time that we get with the program here, that we get on the same page and really focus our efforts. Because Libra, when we're balanced, we can really make some big strides. We can have a meaningful connection in our love life. But when we're not, we're really not. And I think that the health in our love life, especially the spark, the schmexual spark, is just not there. What do you got going on there, Brims?
I was just looking at it from.
So that's the vertical viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And here's an opportunity for us Libra folks. And again, take what resonates, leave the rest. But I think it's important that we remain in balance, Libra. Because an unbalanced Libra is a hot mess. We just kind of get in this weird funk rut, if you will. So it's important that we kind of get out of that rut and we focus on, healthy balance in our relationships. The high priestess. Most of these things are intuitive, by the way, Libra. So it's important that we kind of do the things that we already know we need to do. It's just like with spirituality. We know we need to meditate. We know we need to ground. We know we need to, with exercise, we know we need to get some exercise. We know we need to eat right. But it's just easy to get in these ruts where we just kind of fall out of favor. We fall out of romance. The spark is just not there. And we become kind of like, we become kind of like a roommate that isn't free to do what normal roommates do. It's roommates with expectations, and that's problematic for the Libras. And so we can get in that rut there too, can't we, Libra? All right, let's move on to success here. I think we've drove this point as far into the Libra's heart as we can possibly do. Get with the program, Libra. Do the things you know you're supposed to do. Romance your partner. Spend time with them. Focus on, sugar, spice, and everything nice. All right. Success. Okay. Sometimes it's really hard for us, especially when we're out of balance in our lives, to really do much in the way of career development, personal growth, and success. I think that's one of the pitfalls of being a Libra, isn't it? It's like once Libra, we become unbalanced, or some aspect of our life. Looks like our love life is out of balance here. We're not feeling those warm feelings, we're not loving on our partners, we're not receiving love from our partners. And once we're out of balance, that really affects our ability to accomplish things. It affects our ability to focus and to really have a motivation for going out and doing the thing. So I think that's important to point out that in order for the Libra to really be successful, many of the home aspects have to be in check. And it doesn't appear to be the case here. So gaining wealth is challenging right now for the Libra. So it does look like the Libra is going to, and probably has had, the opportunity to kind of migrate away from certain tendencies and practices, habits that are unhealthy. And in lieu of unhealthy habits, practices, etc., Libra, instead, we focus on building a happier heart space with our person, whether you're single or not. Maybe this is self love, but it is important that we recognize that there's just some things we can't continue to do in our life, Libra. And an unbalanced Libra just gets nowhere. And I think that's important to point out. So we have some room for an opportunity for some advancements um, in our life that increases our likelihood for success. It begins with a happy home life, a happy heart space. So that kind of brings the Libra back into balance. We're doing things that are good for us physically. We're consuming good food. We're getting adequate rest. We're resting appropriately, right? Um, we're exercising or doing whatever our healthcare professionals are recommending, you know, rather than doing things that are deleterious to our health. So, Libra, it's already there. You know what you're supposed to do. All right. Career, yeah, not surprised that we're seeing the Four of Swords here in our career. It seems like it's more rut. Um, and it's more rut because of a Libra but not getting into action, not doing the things that are necessary. It's easy to sit and be idle. It's easy to not make any progress, especially when we're coming from an unbalanced state, especially when we're not actively doing healthy things for ourselves and for our home life. So these are things that we have to reckon with. These are things that Libra, we have to accept. And sometimes it's accepting that we're part of the problem as we're trying to maintain and bring everybody else into balance and make everything right. We forget about the Libra self that also needs that balance. And well, yeah, it just needs balance, right? It needs harmony, I would say, as well. So, being that the case, there are some things that we could focus on that would be more advantageous for us as we're looking for jobs or we're trying to advance our career, Libra. It does appear that there's some things that we could just not do anymore. Maybe it's you kick a nasty habit, or you start getting adequate rest, or you're active during the most active parts of the day. So one of the one of the things that I read about in the Havamal, for example, is it was talking about being the first to rise, because there's always somebody, Libra, that's going to get up earlier than us. they're going to be selling the thing faster than us, and they're going to earn their living before we even do the thing. So, it appears that, like a traditional approach to, our career is necessary. And then we can start seeing some real advancements in our career. But if we're doing something non traditional, it is going to cause a big roadblock because there's really nothing to be gained um, from a non traditional route, which is why, Libra, the traditional routes seem to be the best as far as your career goes. So it seems like we need to focus on our home life, focus on our relationships, focus on romance, um, which brings us into balance, which focuses us on more effective strategies, um, life habits, and practices when it comes to success in our career. Jeff Bezos gets up at 4 a.m. Jeffrey Bezos. All right. We have Elephant Spirit, learn from the past. Some of these things we just know to be true. Like, I mean, we're sitting here uh, pointing out the obvious, Libra, and it's important that you see that. It's like, yeah, we told you so. You knew the whole time. Learn from the past. Um, don't continue to do the same things. They will yield the same results, Libra. Time for a change. Time for um, a market improvement here. Got the brown bear spirit with take some time out, and I think maybe that's part of the issue. Is like we need to like pump the brakes, stop the direction, and reorient. Thanks for the thumbs up, Solaria. Good
Hi,
morning.
Solaria. Good morning. Thanks for joining. Hi, Johnny.
Is that it's Johnny? Is that your YouTube handle? We got the parrot spirit here with watch your words. You know, Libra, I think that when we're not in our best state, when we're not balanced, when we're not fully grounded, we can have a tendency to go over the top. And I think it's important that we take a moment, breathe, take a time out, and slow down. Because it seems like there is like a tendency here, Libra, for some emotional outbursts, and words do hurt. You know, despite the sticks and stones being obviously physically perilous, words do actually hurt people. So, yeah, seems like a reorganization of our focus, Libra. It's time. It's time. All right. Hopefully that resonated with you, Libra. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Let's balance that Libra out to be our best Libra self moving forward. All right. Okay, we have done Virgo and Libra. We were getting ready to do Taurus.
Let's see who's in the chat.
Let us see who's in the chat.
Put your sign in the chat, y'all. I think Solaria is a Capricorn. I want to say Johnny has said. Johnny, are you a Taurus? No. Cancer, right?
I believe so.
My guess is Johnny's a Cancer and Solaria is Capricorn. Mm-hmm.
new moon in Libra.
That's right, it is. I remember seeing that on the pattern. So that's today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're creeping into Scorpio season. Thank you for that Stream Elements. Hey, Stream Elements is working.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Aquarius Sun, Leo Rising, and Moon. Why did I think you were a Cancer, Johnny? Well, I say, what about Aquarius next?
We can do Aquarius.
Yeah.
All right. I wonder what triggered the Stream Elements to do that.
Well, I had a timer going on it, but I didn't realize it was still active.
Interesting.
Yeah. Thanks, Stream Elements.
All right. Well, let's do our Aquarius friends. Aquarius. Let's see what's going on in the old love department. New paths here when it comes to our love life. With the Page of Wands, King of Swords. Talk about watching words. Oh my goodness, got the Devil card.
Uh-oh. Watch out, man.
Watch out now. Be careful what we're saying. What we say right now, especially, has a marked impact on the people in our lives, but also people can get the wrong impression here. And so it's important that we're clear and concise when we're communicating with our people, especially our love interests, that we're not playing games or doing weird things or just hot 1 minute, cold the next, and we're maybe doing some breadcrumbing type of activities, Aquarius. And it maybe is unintentional. It seems like I'm going to turn this light off because it's just causing issue. There we go.
Much better.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
So maybe it's unintentional and we're just not being clear, and someone's getting the wrong message in our love life. So it's important that we're clear, concise, and direct, and we're not playing games or anything like that. Not that an Aquarius would. I think this is something that's unintentional. All right, looking at success now. The Hierophant, Chariot. Seems to me that it's very necessary here with the Seven of Pentacles. Mercury retrograde about to begin, Johnny says. Well,
I knew it. I could
that
feel it.
doesn't surprise me in the least.
I was like, is it? Is it? When is it beginning, Johnny?
It does feel like something that is on the horizon. Mm-hmm. So, it is important, Aquarius, that we're focusing on the things that are part of our manifestation journey. You know, getting sidetracked with side quests and detours is going to be a big sticking point. So it's important that we kind of put first things first, and that we remain focused. And maybe this Hierophant here is here to remind us, like, there's just some things that are going to be unresolved, and that's okay. It is important that we are doing what we can to manifest or to bring about our dreams. So some things you're just going to have to put down, and you're going to have to table them and come back to them as time permits. It does seem like, as we are focusing on what's important here, some of the concerns, maybe even just inertia around it, will be cleared up. So I think, Aquarius, when it comes to our success, in order to be motivated to be more successful, we have to envision and see some level of success. When it's completely fruitless or it appears to be, we are unmotivated at that point. And so it's important that we keep that motivation going. And in order to do that, Aquarius, we have to see some sort of level of success. So we set the bar low. We take baby steps. We move forward. We build our confidence, right? And as we build our confidence and we start to see successes happen, that encourages more growth and success. All right. So it's important to have short term achievable goals rather than setting too lofty of goals, Aquarius. And that's where we get in trouble. All right. Let's see what else we have here with our career. Yeah. So we've got the Five of Cups in the career spot. We've also got the High Priestess and the Nine of Pentacles. I think there's some confusion about what to do in our career, where to go. It seems like we're kind of in a bad place for some of us, Aquarius. So this is kind of rock and hard place. So some of us, Aquarius, might be experiencing some sort of like feeling of being trapped, and that can be very demoralizing. It's kind of like when our job or our life situation literally has us by the pocketbook and or the shirt collar, and it's just jerking us around by it. And so that kind of puts us in a bad place and doesn't really allow for really expanding or personal growth. It just has us locked into a routine of doing the things just to barely scrape by and pay the bills or barely make our performance evaluations or whatever it might be. It's still it's important that we see a sense of freedom, Aquarius, to move up the ladder if we want to. If there's no upward mobility at your current place of employment, it's hard to see success down the road. It's hard to see us staying really and putting our heart into the thing. So, seems like a change of heart is necessary here, Aquarius, so that we can start to realize our dreams. Let's see what we have with the Oracle here. All right, we got the Rabbit Spirit. Now is lucky time, it seems. So, start today. Why wait? Some collaboration with the Ant Spirit might help us. This might mean, Aquarius, that you're speaking to like a professional development counselor or maybe a mentor or something like that. And, talking about what your plans are, what you hope to achieve, and maybe they can even offer some advice or point you in the right direction to get there. We have the Panther Spirit here with Reclaim Your Power. So it seems like we need to kind of like, put ourselves in the driver's seat for success, find some ways to get out of this rut, because it does feel like a rut, doesn't it? Seems like we're not getting anywhere. We're not achieving what we want to be achieving. We're kind of in this rinse and repeat kind of cycle, and that can be problematic. We need to be seeing some level of success here, some level of personal growth, in order to be motivated to, do more. It's kind of like when you pay off a bill, you're more motivated to pay off your other bills, that kind of thing. And that kind of thing snowballs as time goes on for us, Aquarius. That's what we have for Aquarius. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully that resonated with you. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And we will continue on with our readings. Let's see. So we just finished Aquarius. I thought that was, I resonate with a lot of that, as well. Let me know, Johnny, how you felt about that, if that resonated for you. But it seems like when you do the things and it doesn't even move the needle on the odometer, it's really hard to do more of the things, especially when we're not seeing any movement there at all. All right. We do have Taurus.
Solaria is Capricorn, I think.
Solaria is a Capricorn.
Solaria would like.
I'm not sure if Solaria is in the house. Stacy just asked if Solaria was still in the room, but it doesn't look like there's any reply. It is the perfect time to get started, especially with the new moon, setting intentions for manifestations. This is the perfect time to do this. All right, we got the Aquariuses done. With the Libras, we've done Virgo already. Capricorns, any Capricorns in the house? We're going to gear up and do Capricorn right now. All right. Capricorns, we're going to look at love, success, and career. Here we go. And was the guidance you needed? Fantastic, Johnny. Thanks for saying so. I'm glad that worked out for you and it was helpful. And thank you so much, y'all, for joining us here. We really appreciate the support. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you haven't already and you're enjoying the stream. We do love seeing those little heart thingies and different things flop across the screen as well. So if you want to send us some love in the chat, we appreciate it. New moon in Libra teaches balance. We're just talking about balance when we're talking about the Libra reading earlier, and how an unbalanced Libra is problematic. All right. And mostly problematic for the Libra themselves. All right. We are doing Capricorn. Capricorns. This is for our Capricorns in the house. Take what resonates and leave the rest. Talking about your love life here. Man, the Cappies need to feel some love here. I think the Capricorns need to be loved on, feel that warmth and nurturing, which, I think it can be a little confusing, right? Because the Cappies, you're not wearing it on the sleeve, you're not doing it. It's kind of below the surface. And so sometimes it's not immediately apparent for us Capricorns. So it's important that we communicate our desires and needs in our needs in our romantic relationships. And I think that your partners want to meet you there. I think they want to show that love, share that love. It's just, I think that Capricorn tendency to kind of like just do the thing, feel the thing, and not really display it. Our partners sometimes forget that. It's important that we are communicating effectively in our romantic relationships. So, being that the case, it's important that we say the thing, even if it's a hard truth, Cappy. Even if it is something that our partner may not be happy with. It's like, hey, you know what? I realize, I don't always communicate my needs and desires and wants, but it is important that you show up like I do. It is important for us Capricorns that our partners are showing up, even though we haven't said we need the thing, because we kind of expect that they know. You know. So it's not something that we feel we should have to communicate. But for some people, it's just necessary. So it's better to say the thing regardless. All right. Talking about success here, we're looking at some initiatory steps, some things that we can do. Maybe this is just a new idea or concept altogether. And we're looking at it, we're weighing out the likelihood or the necessity. Is it entirely necessary? Would this help us? We're scoping it out. Maybe we're even putting it under a microscope, Capricorn. And I think it has to make sense. It shouldn't be laced with undesirable consequences. It should be pretty self-evident. It should be pretty straightforward. And, the dubious nature of the Seven of Swords calls into question whether or not it's really worth it. It's like, okay, we're looking at the thing, Capricorn, and then we're seeing maybe it's just a waste of time. Maybe it's just futile, just in general. And so, why put the effort into the thing if we can't expect good results, right, Capricorn? It's important that we see the results and that we're expecting good results as as it goes. Otherwise, it's a waste of our time and we're not going to mess with it. But, I think that there is a general misunderstanding of you, Capricorn, that some people just don't realize that you're willing to do the thing and go to the ends of the earth with the thing, provided it's worth the time to do it. Maybe even some people call you a little on the lazy side because they're like, well, you just won't do the thing. Well, show me one good reason why I should. Why is this a good use of time? And with the Seven of Swords here, Capricorn, you're kind of calling those things into question. Maybe it's, a job or a financial endeavor, or maybe even related to your family life, your love life. It's like, why am I doing this thing if there's no point to it? So we need to find what that is. If there's no point, then it may be a time for a shift. If it is a futile effort, why are we doing it in the first place? Refocus on something that actually has some real potential. So that's kind of how we can change the course here, Capricorn, and I think it's necessary that we at least examine it as we're moving forward. Seems like in your career with the Seven of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and we also have the Two of Swords here. So it is coming down to some decisions as it pertains to our career. Maybe it has to do with, our savings, our overall acquisition of wealth. If we're just working our butt off, Capricorn, to barely break even, it's like, why are we even doing this? What's the point in this? It seems like there are some decisions that could be made, Capricorn, that would benefit your bank account and your career significantly more. So it's like, what new idea that we're not seeing that's coming into question here could make all the difference. it does seem like casting a wide net. And you can see this person here, they're kind of like stacking all the pentacles here because every little bit helps, right? So everything that we do here adds up to something. So in your career, Capricorn, it's like, are we completing all the things that we can to hedge our bets, so to speak, so that we're making the most out of our career, that we're making the most as far as our compensation package goes? Or are we just skating by doing, what we can in the moment, um, with no real growth? And maybe that's the thing. Maybe our choices here are limiting our growth in some way because we're failing to realize some truth, that really is internal. This is the type of situation, Capricorn, where we get stuck in a career where it's really unfulfilling. It might even be paying the bills. It might even be doing the thing. But why the hell are we doing it if it's miserable? So again, it comes down to our motivations, Capricorn. Are we motivated by the right things? Are we thriving or surviving? Let's see what we have in Oracle for you, Capricorn. Antelope spirit, life is speeding up. Boy, is it. Boy, is it. Seems like it's just hitting the gas and we're just holding on for dear life. And we can make some adjustments, I would say. It has to do with our decision making processes that would make us more efficacious so that we can meet the rising demands that life has for us by doing more with less effort, which totally works for the Capricorn spirit. Wombat spirit, be at home. Could this be, Capricorn, a situation where you work at home? Because that just seems to make sense, right? It's, you're not going to the office anymore, or maybe you're working from home, or it's a remote job. But even if it's not, spending time at home is really essential because life can really beat us up. And, as we're fighting to kind of make it through this capitalistic hellscape, it's important that we're doing things to recharge our batteries, Capricorn. So, being at home, chilling out, relaxing, avoiding burnout, because that is kind of indicative of the Nine of Wands. Hawk spirit, let spirit be your guide, or whatever spirituality you subscribe to. I think you have to have some sort of understanding of the divine or relate to the universe, spirit, whatever, if you're Hixian and its frequency, whatever it is. But we do have to kind of follow some inner guidance. And even if it's not spirit or a god or goddess, it is important that we're following some sort of maybe commonsensical or some sort of path that makes sense for us. Because if it doesn't make sense, why the hell are we doing it in the first place? We'll, we'll obviously stop flying, Capricorn. We'll just land on a branch and sit there until there's something else that motivates us to do the thing. So that's what we have there, Capricorn. Hopefully that resonated with you. Take what resonates, leave the rest. And thanks for joining us. If you're a Capricorn in the house, let us know if that was helpful to you. All right. Let's see. Next, we've got a couple different options. If you're in the house and you would like your sign, comment in the chat. We have done Virgo, we have done Capricorn, we have done Aquarius, we have done Libra. We have not done Taurus yet, so maybe we'll do Taurus. And start on that. I'm going to get a sip of coffee. We've been going for about 70 minutes now. Feel free to comment as you like in the chat. More comments, the better. So we appreciate the feedback and just general discussion as we're doing these readings. All right. We also have Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, Leo.
Aries, Sagittarius.
We have Aries up here we haven't done. We also have Sagittarius we have not done. All right. Swag. Sag. You're having a hard time with the buttons today, aren't you? All right, let's do some Sagittarius here. And we'll get going. Sagittarius is, where's all my Sagittarius folks at?
Keep saying Taurus.
Well, I keep trying to, but then we keep getting these suggestions. The Tauruses really want a reading here, so maybe we need to switch gears and do the Taurus. But we already talked about Sagittarius, so let's do it. All right, Sagittarius is in our love department. Oof. The words. Seven of Cups. Got the Four of Pentacles. I think right now especially is a time to be especially careful with our words, Sagittarius. These are times where, it's higher intensity emotions or dealing with a lot, Sagittarius. Maybe this is for you, maybe this isn't. But for all my Sagittariuses out there who are dealing with a lot, it is time to maybe just chill a little bit. Be aware that, while a superpower, that brain fire can really make a lot of things happen. And it can also burn some things down to the ground really quickly, Sagittarius. So, be especially gentle and observant of how we're communicating, especially in our love life, because we can do a lot of damage with some harsh words here. And checking our emotional intelligence, we pull it back and realize maybe we need to be listening more than we're talking, contemplating more than we are verbalizing. All right, success. Hopefully our Sages are enjoying some level of success here and fulfillment as it comes. Some advancements possible here, but it seems like there are some things that we could reconcile as far as, maybe little energy leaks or financial leaks where we could cut out some unnecessary spending or unnecessary habits that might be preventing some growth or some movement here as far as their success goes, even though it might just be a matter of like emotional buying or something like that. It seems like we could reconcile some of that with the Hierophant card and recognize, and it does come back to emotional intelligence, doesn't it, Sagittarius? Like being aware of how we're feeling and what the likelihood of us doing some sort of action is based off that emotion. So, being aware of our emotional state as we're doing things or saying things is especially important right now. So success is possible, and it doesn't really look bad for you, Sagittarius. It just seems like we could improve it a little bit. Kind of like optimizing our efforts. It's kind of like efficiency, if you will, where if you are playing, let's say, an efficient musical instrument, right? You're not having to work hard to do the thing. A well-tuned guitar that has been, the actions set properly. Your fingers have to work a lot less difficult or a lot less hard to fret the strings. Or let's say a bagpipe that has, an air leak, as opposed to something that's as tight as a drum, perfectly efficient, and we make some real progress there. So, where are you spinning your wheels at, Sagittarius? Are you spinning your wheels? Time to take a look at that. I think some things are self evident, aren't they? And it does have to do with just where our mind or where our emotions are at in the moment. So, it's important that we're aware of that. In our career, we're looking at the Knight of Pentacles here. So slow and steady wins the race. I don't think we're looking at any really get to the top, get rich quick things. It just, that's not really a reality. It's not a real possibility here. It's really a matter of showing up every single day, putting the time in, doing the thing, and being present in the space. If you have a store, you open that thing at 7 o'clock every day or whatever your business hours are, you show up, you do the thing every single time. It's consistency, even though the consistency doesn't feel good sometimes. And it's kind of like, think of it like this, Sagittarius. If you go to the gym, right, if you want to get in shape, you have to go and you feel like crap, or you're not going to get in shape. Because most of the time, you're going to feel less awesome than more awesome, right? So it's important to even show up when it doesn't feel good. And that's hard to do sometimes. Um, I, I totally get it, Sagittarius. But even though it doesn't feel the greatest, even if you do one thing that will help develop you or advance your career, you're head and tail above the next person who maybe is just scrolling, wasting time, trying to detach from the reality of the capitalistic hellscape they find themselves in. Right, Sagittarius? So rather than coping and moping, um, you're focusing on the tomorrow and building a brighter future for your career. And I think that that's what's going to feel really good. That's what's going to encourage you, Sagittarius, is like seeing that actual real growth, knowing you're taking steps to build that career, improve your overall, or maybe earnings potential is your thing. But this to me, it's like success as far as material, but also like feeling fulfilled at what you do. Like it is important that you're kind of like building the thing so that, the tomorrow's easier. So even if it's like, hey, normally Tuesdays suck, right? Because we've got all these things, but you work ahead on a Monday. And so your Tuesday's way easier. And you're just like, I'm just going to enjoy this Tuesday. Meanwhile, your coworkers who haven't worked ahead are over there suffering because they're wasting time on a Monday and they could have been working ahead. See what I'm saying there, Sagittarius? You can get out ahead of this thing. And I know your little brain fire loves that. So think of ways you can kind of get ahead of the game here. Even if it's one small step for Sagittarius, that one giant leap for tomorrow. All right, we have the ant spirit. We have time to collaborate here. So maybe it's like you share some load, you work with others to kind of um, help the overall mission here. This might mean even as like if you just have like owner operator type of business, you could still collaborate with others to kind of push things out and build your clientele basis. Got the cow spirit here with the miracles are endless for you, Sagittarius. Um, I think that it's important for a full effort that you believe that these things are possible in your life. So what I mean by that is, in order for you to be engaged with, let's say, your love, your finances, or your career, and really put a full effort in, you have to believe, Sagittarius, that these things are possible, that you can take steps to change them, that manifestation is a real thing, that your dreams can actually come true, Sagittarius, and that it's not just a lost cause, right? Because that brain fire will shift in a different direction if you feel like it is a lost cause. And all of these things are completely within your control. Even the things that we find ourselves not being able to control, um, overall, we're still able to affect positive change in our life. So, Sagittarius, it's important to remember here that you can change the direction of your life. You can improve your career. You can improve your bank account. You can improve your personal connections with people. Entirely possible. All right, we have the dog spirit. Be loyal to what you love, Sagittarius. Be loyal to what you love. Spend time in the right places with the right people, doing the right things that you find efficacious and helpful and rewarding. Um, don't waste your time in fruitless endeavors. We just got done talking about that, didn't we, Sagittarius? Like, these things are fruitful. You can change them. You can improve them. And so it's important that you're doing the things that bring about that change and staying loyal to that and showing up for yourself every day, Sagittarius, remaining consistent. It's like fishing. You show up to the water and you get that line in the water, otherwise you're not catching fish. And Sagittarius, you can catch the fish. You can catch the fish and they will bite and you will catch the fish. All right, I hope that was helpful, Sagittarius, and that resonated with you. Take what resonates and of course leave the rest. Let us know, Sagittarius, how you felt about that one and whether or not that helped you. All right, we are doing Taurus next. Taurus, we are going to pause for station identification for just a moment, and we'll be right back with you. All right. Super duper. Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate that. All right. We are on Tauruses. We're going to do the Taurus. Time for some Taurus readings. Looking at love, success, and career for our Tauruses after a sip of coffee. All right, Tauruses. Let's see what we've got in your love department. King of Pentacles popping up there in the old love department. Uh-oh. Got the Eight of Cups. All right, so we figured out the pluses and minuses in our love life, Taurus. And it seems like we are committed to overcoming what obstacles present here. So for some of our Taurus friends, there's going to be connections where they're really great and they add value to our life as a Taurus. But there's also going to be some relationships and connections that we have that just aren't for us. And rather than waste any kind of time on that, Taurus, we just find a different path. And that's where we really sink our Taurus teeth into it and really put a lot of our energy. So why are we wasting time on connections, Taurus, that really aren't adding value to our life, where people don't show up for us, where people don't deserve that hard, consistent, unwavering Taurus energy? Why are we trying so hard, Taurus? So rather than waste our time on people that don't deserve our love and affection, we move off in a different direction. For some of you, this might mean friendships or romantic relationships, or even just love interests that just they're wasting our time. And they're really in it for themselves. They're not in it for like a mutual connection. So as a result, we kind of move off in a different direction. We take a new path, one that's filled with value, So let's see what else we have here for you in your success category. Got the Three of Pentacles, so maybe a little bit of collaboration here with the Tauruses. Which being fixed signs, this might mean that this puts us in kind of a different mode where we're kind of letting other people take the reins and we're not in a seat of power. Maybe we're kind of in unfamiliar territory, Taurus, where we're kind of like along for the ride. We're an active participant still, but we're not necessarily having to call the shots or forge the way. And this can be unsettling at times, um, because, as a Taurus, there is kind of like this steady, unwavering energy about you. So, maybe this is like being outside of your comfort zone a little bit here, Taurus, where, you're being an extremely good participant, an extremely good follower, but you're taking direction in some way and like working with a team rather than, maybe a preferred way of doing things. As it regards to your wealth and successes, you like to be in charge of your own well-being and success. You like to be in charge of that, drive the bus. But the idea of letting another person be in charge of that and kind of run the show does make our skin crawl a little bit. And it's as though we're releasing control over this situation so that we can see greater success as a result of outside perspectives that we may not have. And the Queen of Pentacles here is focused on the Pentacles so much. Sometimes it takes an outside and fresh perspective to kind of steer things in a better direction. So, with that, steering in a better direction, there are some things that we can let go of, Taurus. And, that fear that the whole thing's going to crash because you're not driving the bus at the moment, or something like that, where something maybe isn't fully controlled. And you just it's kind of like being on a roller coaster, Taurus. Like you buckle in, that part we can control. But once the ride starts, we're on it. And there's not much we can do to stop the ride, and that can make us a little nervous at times, but it can also bring about considerable change in our life as it applies to our success. All right, let's see what we have in career here. Maybe this will expand on this a little bit more. We've got the King of Cups here. So, success and fulfillment in our career. The Moon card seems to me that something is kind of like at the same time, subconsciously, there's some aspect that is unfulfilling, right? So maybe we can get to the bottom of that a little bit here. All right, and reconcile some things with the Two of Cups that would make our career more gratifying and fulfilling. For some people, I think that compensation packages really speak to them. For some people, the compensation package is less important, Taurus, and it's more important that we're doing something with our time that's fulfilling, that we're fully committed to because we believe in the cause. And in this case, it looks like there's something that we are forced to deal with the Moon card that maybe we're suppressing. So this could mean like, okay, well, maybe we're doing something for our career that's really fulfilling in the sense of our heart's really in it. Like this happens when people like, let's say you were inspired by someone who was a social worker or something like that, right? Or you were inspired by somebody who does some sort of service oriented field, and you're like, wow, I really want to do that with my life, but it doesn't really pay that well, right? Um, so hypothetically, if you were to find a career path like that and get into it, it's highly rewarding. You go home at the end of the day and feel like you put in a good day's work and you made a real difference, Taurus. but it doesn't pay the bills. And so at the end of the day, love that phrase. We have to find something that is both lucrative and fulfilling, or it's checking all the boxes in our career. So there are ways to do that. And there are ways to love what you do and, you know, fulfill all of the other aspects that there are in a career. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you need a compensation package with some good health insurance, right? You can do a type of work that is fulfilling, but you can also get a decent healthcare plan, right? And I think it comes down to finding the right fit, or the right company, or the right situation. If you're an independent contractor tourist, it's hard to do. You kind of got to figure out non-traditional means to do the thing. So you might be participating in some sort of government sanctioned healthcare or something like that. But the point is, we find a way to make all that is possible, or all that is necessary within our career, happen, rather than some aspects and needs within our career not being met because of the circumstances. So that is something that we can control. So that can be reconciled. But it requires that we do some digging with the Moon card, and it is something that's going to require some effort and research. Let's see what we have for our Taurus friends. We've got the wolf spirit. Turn knowledge into wisdom. That's interesting. The difference between knowledge and wisdom is application, right? It's being vetted. It's the difference between intelligence and information. Intelligence is vetted. Wisdom is intelligence. So knowing the thing, what do we do with it? In other words, right? Does it go in one ear and out the other? We have the fox spirit. Think on your feet. So I think that some of the bending and shifting that's required here, Taurus, it is going to require you to be somewhat flexible. And that might be a challenge, because we kind of like see the goal and go full steam ahead at it. And this might require some like audibles as you are kind of like advancing through, whether it's your love life or your career, whether it's your financial goals, where they sometimes have to take a back seat and we kind of have to go around some obstacles. Maybe your car breaks down. You have to think on your feet, and then, kind of regain your footing and start again. And that might mean even an adjustment in your plans. We got the spider spirit here. Make your dreams real. So, the spider weaves that web, don't they? And they end up with a wonderful, beautiful web at the end, but it is string by string. So making your dreams real does require steps. And I don't think there's any question as to whether or not you're willing to go the distance, Taurus, or be willing to be flexible, even though it doesn't feel comfy. Or allow yourself to kind of be guided in a different direction than you originally viewed or imagined. You can think on your feet. You can make adjustments. You can, um, make little course corrections along the way. The spider spirit's indicative of that. You can adjust your anchor points, and that has a lot to do with the structural integrity of the web itself. So, being that there's an obstacle in the way, you just move your anchor point. And a well-placed anchor point means a good overall result in the web, right? So starting with the foundations, Taurus, and maybe even making some adjustments to those based off of what you know, based off of what you can put into practice is key. So that's what I have for you, Taurus. Hopefully that resonated. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Let us know if that was helpful to you, our Taurus friends. And thanks for joining us. All right. Let's see here. We've got our Taurus friends taken care of here. We've got Aries, Cancer, Scorpio, and Leo, I believe, next. Am I forgetting anybody? We got Pisces here. Yep. I didn't say that just a second ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We've got Aries, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Leo. All right. So let's do some Aries next. We're just I'll do this lovely fire sign energy here. Is everything good? All right. Aries. We're doing Aries next. Aries. Love, success, and career for Aries friends. Aries, let's see what's going on in your love life. Oh, my. Some Aries action working against us in our love life. It seems like right now, especially Aries, we need to cool our jets when it comes to like our the way we are expressing ourselves. It seems a little intense, honestly, Aries. Even for Aries, it's like Aries. Let's tone it down. Let's bring down the intensity, because as much as we like to be intense and fiery and all of this, Aries, it is important for the people around us to be able to chill. Right. So we show up with all this intensity, Aries, and there's only so much of it that our people in our life are able to really digest at any one time. So it's just who we are as Aries. And so it's important that we keep a tab on that and try to lower that intensity just a notch. And it doesn't mean that we can't still continue on with, what our goals are or what we're trying to do in our lives, or, whatever it is regarding our relationships and our connections. It just that means that we need to be cognizant that not everybody is an Aries. And sometimes we forget that. And so, the Emperor here is to remind us, okay, well, Aries, yes, we can do a lot of things with our Aries power, but we also need to consider that not all the people in the empire can handle the Emperor all the time. So, it's time to kind of like sit back, embrace some of our other astrological tendencies and aspects, and create a sense of balance in our connections. So that there are times where things can be really intense and powerful and amazing, and or if something difficult has to be said, we say the difficult thing and then we let it go. As opposed to just pa 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 hammering all the time. That becomes tiresome, and people in our lives will start pulling back. They'll become defensive, and that is a sure sign that maybe things are a little too intense all the time, and we need to kind of slow it down a little bit. Hmm. Let's see what else we have for you, Aries, in your success category. All right, let's see. We got the Fool. Might be time to try some new things, experiment with some things that you've been thinking about, or just go on a little journey in no particular direction. So this could be completely random, but I think that it's important that we can see some sort of benefit to it. And right now, I don't think we're experiencing that, Aries. And I think that the lack of like feedback that we're going in the right direction or that the thing is working out is maddening. And I think it's really especially important that um, the effort that we're putting into things, Aries, is worth our time. Because if it's not, it becomes something that's a bother. So we have the King of Swords. It's time to get down to a really objective viewpoint when it comes to. Let me just look at something. Our cat just got sick, so I was just making sure she didn't vomit on something important. All of you cat people know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So straightforward and to the point really is what we need here, right, Aries? And all of life's detours and you know limitations and all of the things that get in the way of the thing, which, as we view it in our Aries mind, is really unnecessary. It's one more damn thing to get in the way of you achieving your Aries goal. And you're like, can we just not do the thing? Can we just get the thing done and move on? But, life kind of gets in the way and it does the things that kind of divert us off into a different direction. And we got to go back to it. And it can feel a little haphazard at times. But it is important, Aries, that you're focusing on your long term goals. You're setting realistic, specific, measurable, attainable, repeatable, and time oriented goals for the short and long term. And so that you can measure and weigh and determine whether or not you're on track for the long term. So that's really important, so that we can see the progress, that we can see that we're not wasting our time in some way, gallivanting around off in some weird direction that this experimentation might take us. So let's see what else we have here for you in the career category, Aries. Got the Chariot. Got the Queen of Pentacles. King of Cups. So, some progress, some forward momentum in the career. I think this plays to like, let me get the cat off of the table. She's decided she needs to be on the table. You're just being a bad man. I think it's important that we embrace the positive aspects of what it means to be an Aries. And, we do well with leadership and things like that when we're in balance. When we're not in balance, we can be focused on the wrong things. And we can get kind of into this mindset or this state of being where we're focused on or fixated on one thing, and we're ignoring Aries, the other aspects that we need to be paying attention to. So it's important that we're focusing on multiple aspects here, that we're not fixating on the one thing. So for a holistically healthy connection in our career areas, it's important that we have kind of a holistic viewpoint, a top-down viewpoint, a 10,000 foot perspective, and that comes with, and it goes back to effective goal setting, short and long-term goal setting. Even though we have detours and things that we have to deal with, of course, Aries, they're going to pop up. It's important that we not get fixated and that we remain in balance. And Aries out of balance can be a real monster, but Aries in balance is super effective. And it really begins with our love life. The lover is the counterbalance to Aries. And so that intensity that we can bring to the table in our love life Aries can put us into kind of like a warlike state of an unbalanced Aries. So that's something to keep in mind, Aries, as we're kind of interacting in our love life. Okay. This is interesting. Dream the world into being, Aries, with the lizard spirit. Which, I think the Aries archetype is really good at making that happen. Like on a realistic, like boots to ground level, especially when Aries is in balance. Got the horse spirit here. Freedom is yours. One thing about horse cultures is with the development of horse cultures, so much became possible across the world. And so the horse itself really, hey, Fifi, how's it going down there? Thanks for joining. Hello there, Viti. So, consider this as like, what tools do you have at your advantage that really change the game for you, Aries? And it may not be anything that's really it may not require that we do anything, Aries. It may mean that it's something that we allow to happen. So in the case of management, as a manager, Aries, which is where you kind of naturally find yourself. How do we move out of being autocratic into a situational leader? How do we empower our employees, let's say, or the people that we're in charge of? How do we empower them to be critical thinkers and effective, right? So we kind of allow the horse to do the thing rather than like kicking and steering the horse in exactly the right direction that we micromanage it to do. What if we allow it to be effective in its own right? See what I'm saying? All right. B spirit, sweet results await. So sometimes this means like we take a step back, Aries, and we allow things to happen, and we work with the natural tendencies. Okay. So in nature, you can see situations such as fish in a stream. Some fish, such as sockeye salmon, will literally swim up a waterfall to get to spawning beds that they've always gone to. And they'll do that in spite of all the really awesome spawning beds that they could have gone to along the way, right? Versus, let's say, a fish that just exists in the river. They don't do wild and crazy moves, and they still get the same things done with less effort. Typically, those fish that do that live longer, right? Sockeyes, they'll spend so much energy getting to the place that they end up just expiring from being exhausted. And then they just become bear poop somewhere. But Aries, you don't have to become bear fodder. All you have to do is just work with natural processes and tendencies, keep ourselves and our Aries fire in check so that we can be successful and just enjoy the sweet results. It's less effort, Aries, and then we can focus our efforts in other areas. So I think that when we try to have our finger on everything, on the pulse and everything in between, we don't have fingers free to be able to point in a different direction. I think that's important. So Aries, kind of taking a step back, freeing yourself up, empowering people in your life, doing less, and allowing more to develop is super key. Super key here. All right. Hopefully that was helpful to you, Aries, and that resonated. Take what resonates and leave the rest. And let us know if that was helpful to you in the chat or in the comments. And thanks for participating with us and checking it out. All right. Moving on. Thank you very much for saying so, Stacy. All right, we've got Aries taken care of. Let's see, we have Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Leo. I said I was going to do Leo last, but Fee is a Leo, so we can do a Leo reading here. And let's see here. Let me just double check our list here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. One moment and we will continue with the readings. Let's see. We've done Aries. We've done... Gemini is the one I'm missing on my list here. And we've got a Gemini with us as well. So let's do Leo next. Then we'll do Gemini. Then we'll do Cancer and Scorpio. And that will... Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. That will be... Okay, you're a Cancer, so we'll do Leo now. We'll do Gemini and Cancer in that order. Then we'll do Pisces and Scorpios. All right. Thank you very much, Stacy, for saying so. Hopefully this is helpful to you all. This is our first all signs on here, so we'll probably kind of adapt this as necessary. Seems like most people are focused on these three categories. So we've got love, wealth, success, and then we've got, or we could call this finances as well. And then we've got career. So, all right, Leos. The very first person in this room today was a Leo, and I had to block them. So we've got the good Leos in the house now. Thanks for being here. All right, let's see what we have. Oh, got the Five of Swords in the love category. So I got some changes, some things that we're needing to, and maybe this would benefit us as a mindset or some sort of change in the way we view or speak about something in our connections, where it seems like we could catch more flies with honey in most circumstances, but there are those scenarios that Leah, we just kind of have to put our foot down on and speak up for. And it does come at a cost. It seems like there's some conflict here that doesn't seem very beneficial. It seems like we're kind of having to rattle some cages to get some things accomplished, which, to a certain extent, we find it necessary, but we have to be careful when we do it. Let's see what else we have here in the love. Okay. Yeah, so this, it's like, be careful of what we're saying or doing, because we don't want to say something or do something today that we're going to have to apologize for tomorrow. So it does seem like we're very careful about the things that we're thinking, doing, saying, etc. Even though some things might be entirely necessary, could we do it a little better? Could we do it with a better bedside manner? Things like this, because ultimately, once the things are out there, we have to deal with the consequences and results. So this seems like maybe we could like marry some things together, fuse some things together, maybe with the Hierophant, and kind of like come up with some sort of result that is like amalgamated, I think is the word, right? All right, success. What things have worked in the past here for you, Leos? This is a Leo type of card, so very Leo-esque also. What new things have you tried that don't work or wouldn't work based off of your past successes? Well, one thing is true. We don't know the success of the things that would be new paths until we try them. And so this does seem like, in order to kind of break some cycles and to create some new momentums here, we can look at things that have worked for us in the past, that we've been successful at, Leos, in the past, but also be willing to try new things that would have some potential. And they may or may not work. But one thing's for sure is they won't work if we don't try them. So it's essential that we're willing to kind of be a bit experimental, even though it might not be something that we're entirely comfortable with, because it's new. And so we can kind of, being fixed signs, we can kind of get stuck into habits. And it's like, or we kind of break that cycle and try little things along the way that may or may not benefit us. So for example, um, we see a new dish, right? We go to a restaurant and there's a new dish, and we try it, or we sample something, which is why, like, the Costco's and what is it, the Sam's Clubs, they have the samples for people, because sometimes we just don't know that it will benefit us or be successful or work out well until we just try the thing. So it seems like a free sample or something like that would be a benefit here, and it kind of requires us to take a new path, which we may not be comfortable with. But some things, I think, will always be true, um, and that is the feeling in our heart space that no matter what happens, no matter what paths we take, no matter what decisions we make, we step into our Leo power and we make shit happen. And I think it's important to recognize that trying something different, um, experimenting with different methods, or whatever, pardon me, might be in your life, does not diminish the results. Because at the end of the day, of course, this is Leo power. It's very formidable. It's hard to, you can't keep a good Leo down, no matter how many different things that they're willing to try in their life. So, at the end of all of this, the opportunity is you can always go back to square one, no matter how far you deviate. One of the best pieces of advice that I got as a young person is, no matter how far from home you go in your life, how far you travel, whatever that might be, there's always home. And you can always come back to centeredness and that grounded state, which is important. All right, let's look at career. Let's look at the career. Ooh, some stability here as it applies to your career. What I think is interesting here in this career category, let me scoot this down just a little bit so you can see it, is, and we know this as Leos. So, Leo, we know that nothing is really going to be handed to us. In order for this change to happen, we actually have to make the effort. And you know that as a Leo. We have to get down to brass tacks. We have to get after it. We have to take charge of the situation, and also be willing to encourage others to kind of get involved as well. And so I think that, Leo, it's important that you empower all of your people as well, um, and encourage them to, be involved in the process. So, in essence, what you're doing is you're empowering people that you're guiding to be successors, to, um, kind of take the reins at some point, rather than be worried about the tomorrow, right? So you're ensuring the success, let's say it's of the company, right? Or the organization or the whatever. You're ensuring the long term success and the longevity of the company by continuing to involve people in, um, the decision making, the understanding of, especially as it comes to financial understandings and whatnot. One second here. Okay. Just had to pause there for a moment for a cat to continue doing cat things. All right. Let's see what else we have here. We're doing signs right now. Yes, this is Leo. All signs. Oh, we're just having a moment here with our cat. Are you okay? Our little furry friend here is having a rough morning. All right. Let's move to some oracle insight for our Leo friends. Peacock spirit, let it shine. Let it shine from you, but also encourage your people to let it shine. Empower them to take the next step. Empower them to be the next king or queen of wands. You know, that's how we keep the thing going. That's how we can ensure that the tomorrow is taken care of by doing the things today. So if you're a leader, Leo, if you're a manager of something, let's say you're a manager of a company, how do you train that next successor to come in and be the next CEO? And to ensure that the company does well and excels in the future. Believe in yourself. I think that's one of the strengths you have as a Leo, being a strong individual of strong constitution and beliefs. That's a superpower. Show others how to do that as well. Got the moth spirit surrendering. Now, that might be a challenge, right? So sometimes as a leader, it is difficult to know when to kind of like shift to a support structure role. So, give you a great example. In my career years ago, there was a point where um, we shifted from doing field operations and we moved in. There's another one in there as well, Brooms, um, to support roles, right? So we weren't out there doing the thing. Our field personnel were doing those things. We were taking in the information, managing the information, providing them with resources and tools to be able to do the thing. And we were just kind of helping steer things a little bit. But really, the things were happening and we were just watching it happen. So that does take some surrendering. And Leo's, it can be difficult to kind of be like, hey, here you go. Here's the thing. I'm going to show you how to do this thing, and then you're going to drive, right? So it's like learning to drive for the first time. There is a sense of like helplessness as a person teaching another to drive, because I mean that person's controlling that car, and there's nothing you can really do to change that. So it does take a great deal of trust in order to teach someone, let's say, to drive, Leos. Okay. But you teach them to drive, and then pretty soon they're taking you everywhere you need to go. And it's just simple at that point. So that's what I have for you, Leos. It seems like we're letting go some control. We're being careful with, what we're saying to people, especially this is a high intensity, high conflict time in your personal lives as it applies to love lives. Not seeing any real um, not seeing like a stagnancy. Um, Quite the contrary, Leos. This is actually a time of great change in your personal connections. Change, change, change. The time is here. The change is at our feet. and how we handle that and move forward and inspire people to develop personally, to be able to create stability and abundance. That's our next task. We've done the thing. Now is the time for the change. Now is the time to ensure future successes. So that's what we have for you, Leo. Hopefully that resonated and you found that helpful. Take what was resonating and leave the rest, of course. And we have Gemini, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces left. All right. I'll remember to use my laptop from now on. Are you on your phone? All right. We've got Gemini next. Where are my Geminis at? Do we have any Geminis in here? I think we had a Cancer in here earlier. If you're a Cancer, Scorpio, Gemini, Pisces, go ahead and speak up. And we can shift the order if you're here now. All right. Thank you. All right. We're going to move on to our Geminis. I'm not seeing any movement in the chat. Wheel of Fortune in our love life. King of Pentacles. Wow. I think that this comes down to being the right time to make some real moves in our love life, Geminis. It seems like it's a fish or cut bait situation right now. So why are we allowing certain energies to stay around who really have no benefit to us in our love lives? It almost feels like it's a little bit like, well, I'd rather have somebody than nobody or something like that. Some things are glaringly obvious here with the Judgment card. So if that doesn't resonate for you and that's not your situation, it's like, what's the obvious answer here? Who's the obvious individual? What's the most important thing to be considering here with the Judgment card? I will say that there's nothing to be gained with this King of Pentacles. So there's no point in wasting time in dead-end situations in your love life. There's just not. And that's really any connection, Gemini. There's no point in keeping this around for a future date, just in case, kind of situation. It's a waste of time, and it will complicate things in your future. So it seems like we need to deal with some very obvious consequences or situations or whatever in our love life and make some real concrete decisions. All right, let's see what else we have here as far as your success goes or general well-being. Maybe we look at it from a standpoint of finances, but Eight of Cups. Gemini, I think that there's no point in staying in a deadpan situation. It seems like we're making some real advancements and following our heart in a direction that would be unequivocally good for us. I think that one of the things that we can really get stuck in as a Gemini is like the analysis paralysis, considering all of the factors, we get locked into things and we don't actually make a decision. So we're constantly, with the Two of Pentacles, really just kind of like going back and forth. Should I, shouldn't I? Should I, shouldn't I? Or we can make a decision, an obvious decision, one that we know to be true, one that our heart up here with the Eight of Cups has already told us is true. We know these things to be self-evident, Gemini. So, for some Geminis out there, this might mean like actually like, switching careers or going back to school or whatever that heartstring pull has been, that has led us to the point of the judgment saying, hey, we're not going to sit idly by anymore. This is a waste of time and effort. It's not going to benefit us in the future. It's not going to be something that we can hold on to and put in our closet and bring out for a rainy day. It's a waste of space, and it's just cluttering up the closet. So I think that that's hard sometimes with the Gemini archetype because, it is like a twin thing. And so, like, you might feel very strongly in one regard, but you have mixed feelings on the subject. And as a result, we get kind of stuck in this pro con, pro con, pro con thing. And we never actually get to the Queen of Wands where we're making some decisions. So it's important for a long term success, Gemini, that we're making some decisions here and that we're willing to live with the consequences, because there are always consequences to every decision, good or bad. This could be very good consequences. And you've looked at it over and over and over again, Gemini, so you know what those consequences are. Believe in yourself to make a decision. And this is kind of taking the reins in a lot of regards. And this might mean that we're pulling the reins in a different direction, Gemini, with our career. I did get the feeling that we were looking at some sort of career shift or some sort of different direction. Maybe you want to get your master's or your bachelor's degree so that you can put that on your resume and increase your earnings potential. It does look like earnings potentially kind of energy going on here for you, Gemini. So it seems like that's maybe what we're talking about here is like, I'm thinking about doing some things that might improve my overall career or earnings potential or cause a shift in my career. And it does seem like that is the goal here with the Magician. Although I would say that this requires actionable steps from us, Gemini. So, like, in order to make the thing happen, we do have to do the thing. All right. It's not going to magically happen. Even though we want it to, it'd be great, wouldn't it? This does mean like getting out there, networking, taking actionable steps from multiple arenas to try to get the thing going. It does appear that maybe there's a little bit of inertia issue in taking the step. And we kind of saw that in the success category here with the Two of Pentacles, kind of holding us back, locking us in this analysis paralysis category that's limiting our forward progress here. So it's just as simple as we need to make a concrete decision here, Gemini. It's time to get off the fence with this. It's time to start taking actionable steps to achieve your goals. And part of meeting goals is doing things that help you meet the goals, right? These are, self-evident things. So the Ace of Swords is an opportunity here. So even one thing that you do is enough to set the thing into motion. So it's like a catalyst of sorts to get the energy moving, to get the ball rolling, to get it flowing. It's like engaging with and interacting with your flow state to get the energy going. So even the smallest step can get things moving. It doesn't have to be some sort of earth-shattering thing. Most effective things that we do in our life, Gemini, are some of the smallest. Baby steps, for example. All right, let's see what else we have here for you. I'm going to grab this Oracle deck and we'll see if we can gain some extra insight here. We've got Be Peace with the Dove Spirit. So I think the most important thing is that at the end of the day, you are at peace within yourself and in your personal life. Certainly in your love life, we can look in that at this category and just bringing peace in your connections. Maybe it's just even your platonic connections, being at peace. Rebirth is assured. I think that comes with this like adjustment or step that you're wanting to take in your life, Gemini. It's kind of like you get this ball rolling and a rebirth is assured as you're finding your way kind of through the dark alleys of life. Being courageous of spirit, you know, that's one thing that the Leos, the previous sign that we read for, have going for them is that they are willing to like do the thing and fully commit to the thing. And sometimes that can be a real struggle with the Geminis. Um, you know, you don't want to necessarily go down a certain path because of the negative consequences, but you want to see the good things happen, but we don't want to see the bad things happen. Sometimes we just have to be willing to deal with the consequences, right? Even the bad ones. Because sometimes the negative consequences of making a decision, Gemini, will far outweigh um, the positive consequences of making a decision will far outweigh the negative ones. So sometimes the good shit that happens, Gemini, is way better than any bad stuff. And it's still worth making the decision or still going to the thing. So let's say, Gemini, and I've been feeling this about you, we're talking about some sort of personal development in your education. So let's say you're considering going back to school or something. That costs money. Okay. But if you go back to school and earn your degree in whatever, you increase your earnings potential, you get into a market that they just pay more. All right. So for a short time, you're having to pay off some student debts. But after that, it's all good. And you're happier doing what you want to be doing. That's an example. But if we never make that decision, Gemini, we'll never get there. Something to consider. All right, Gemini, that's what I have for you. Hopefully that was helpful and that resonated with you. Of course, take what resonates, leave the rest. And we'll move on to the next side, which I believe we have a Cancer. Cancer is next. Oops, I keep bumping the screen, y'all. How's the sound, by the way? Is the sound okay? Is there a lot of background? I am going to pause and I'll be right back with you in one moment. Okay, we are back. Sound is good. Okay. All right. If you were a Gemini in the chat, let us know if that resonated with you. All right. We are moving on to Cancer. I think we'll do Scorpio after Cancer, and then we'll do Pisces as our last sign today. We're getting there, folks. Thanks for hanging with us. This is a long thing. All signs is arduous. People don't understand how hard all signs is if you've never done it. It's a lot of information, a lot of reading, and it's a lot for people to stick with. So if you're still with us, thank you so much for hanging out with us and supporting the channel. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button already and you're enjoying the stream, we'd certainly appreciate that. Helps our analytics, and always consider subscribing so you can get notifications. Hit that bell so you get notifications when we're live. All right. We have the Cancers next. Cancer. Let's talk about your love life, Cancer. Oh, all right. Got the Emperor here in your love life. Got the Three of Wands. The Fool. Cancer. I feel like failing to plan is planning to fail here, Cancer. I don't think that we can just sit idly by and not take actionable steps in our love life. This is the kind of energy that expects love to just happen, or like, the person of our dreams showing up on our doorstep and, just meandering into our life. And while that's a possibility, it's not likely. So it seems like Cancer, we're kind of doing some things rather than like being along for the ride. Which I think is difficult to see at some point here, Cancer, because we're just not assured of its success. It's hard to see, for some of us, Cancer, it's hard to see into the future and see this being successful. So maybe, Cancer, you're in a relationship that, it is what it is right now. And maybe it's good for this time being, but we're just not sure if it's going to work out in the future. But we are in this compartment right now, and we're doing this thing right now, and that's what's important to us. The other aspect to this too is autonomy. And, like, I think as a Cancer, it's necessary to focus on that autonomy in our relationships, and, just doing things by ourselves. As Cancers, it can sometimes be very fulfilling to, do our life with someone who is special to us, but also we can forget about the value of spending time in solitude, so that we can ground and meditate and do all the things that are necessary to kind of keep us well balanced. So we can become too reliant on others to make us feel a sense of love or fulfillment in our relationships as Cancers sometimes. So it's something to point out. And maybe that's not you. Maybe that's not the kind of Cancer you are. And that's okay too. It is something to note, though, that like a codependency type of thing could be something that we could struggle with our sign. So, maybe going on a hike, or some sort of new adventure that we do, maybe necessarily by ourselves. So the Fool card here, this person's kind of going on their own journey, right? And it makes sense to them. It's practical here. And the dog's like, "Take me too," and you're like, "Yeah, I mean, I'll take you next time, but like, I need to go on this thing by myself. I need to go do the thing by myself." So, Cancer, it seems like, thank you very much for the lovely whatever those things are there, Felicia. So let's see what else we have here in regards to your success and just overall well-being here. We got the Ace of Swords. All right. That Eight of Cups has actually came out several times today during our All Signs. So this could mean that in some way we're not willing to leave a pre-established thing. So institution, etc. Thanks for that, Felicia. I'm going to go ahead and make you a moderator, actually. There we go. Being that it's already done before, and you might be asking yourself as a Cancer, like, well, the thing already exists. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I just need to do the thing that's already pre-established. And sometimes that's a good thing, right? But sometimes we need to kind of go our own way. So it could mean that, we're a little reluctant to kind of fit outside the vessel as a Cancer. And we're talking about vessels here with these cups, aren't we? So, that could mean that this is a real opportunity for personal growth in the way we feel about our autonomy and our success and our role in that, rather than being like a cog in the machine, which is our natural tendency as a Cancer, maybe. Maybe our natural tendency is to just kind of do the thing and that's it. And then we don't have to think about it, and we don't have to try anything new. We don't have to experience anything, make decisions or whatever, wrap our minds or our hearts around something that's new, right? It makes us feel uncomfy when we're busting through, new heights, or busting through like a glass ceiling or whatever it might be. Really expanding our horizons is a challenge. And with that comes some real opportunities for personal growth and development. And some of that comes in our heart space, Cancer. What else do we have? Oh, interesting here. Got the career. So, and this is maybe some of this benefit or whatever that we were talking about earlier, like the benefit of staying in like the box or some sort of preset, predetermined, or pre-made thing, as opposed to new ideas, which can be successful, right? So we're talking about potentiality for success. With it come the ups and downs that are inherent to forging new pathways. Because in its process, if we're forging a new pathway, we do have to do some bushwhacking. We have to swing the machete and cut all the weeds out of the way, which makes things easier in the long run. But while we're doing it, we're putting a lot of sweat equity into these types of things, right? So, Cancer, it might mean that for your career in the right now, we continue doing what we're doing, but we're creating and building new potentialities in the background. And I think that's what we're kind of lacking the understanding of here with the Ace of Pentacles, is that we can actually build something new while we're doing something simultaneously. And that would probably be to your benefit. So if it's like, what was it? We were talking about maybe with the Geminis going back to school or something like that. You could go back to school while working your job. You would just take less credit hours and like take a lighter load, but you could still earn a full ass living while starting something new. And maybe that's something we're missing here, right, Cancer? We're missing that. Hey, you know what? We can be a jack of a few trades and be good at them, as opposed to, the old adage. All right. opportunity for some real personal growth here, financial growth, career development, and just a sense of like well-being and fulfillment, and that we're doing or we're building towards what our true calling is. So, Cancer, this might mean like you're getting outside of your box, you're building a long term future with your career. It might mean upward mobility, but this feels like lily pad energy as you're kind of focused on a longer term, higher yielding potential in your career. So it's like, think of like a baker who works at a bakery while they're figuring out their finances, equipment, loans, things like that to make their own bakeries. That kind of energy. So you learn the ropes, you do the thing. Pardon me 1 second here. Cat's getting into trouble again. Um, she's getting on the counters and getting into stuff. So like building something while you're doing another, learning some ropes, Cancer, that would help kind of ensure your long-term success while you're still in a stable environment. And I think that's important for that Cancer energy. Think of it like water in a vessel. The water just spills all over the place. And, it's not a good situation to be in versus some structure. And the structure provides kind of like steps to be able to go to that next step, right? But if we're stepping on or stepping from rather, unstable ground, it's hard to get good footing to make that next step. So that's really important here, Cancer. All right, let's see what else we have here for you, Cancer. We got the grasshopper spirit. We were just talking about taking leaps of faith, and at certain points um, there is that time where it is our time to make that leap, and we're not fully going to see the picture there. Let's say it's in our love life. This is where this is landing. So there's really no way of telling. I mean, we can get a pretty good viewpoint of a guesstimate of how things are going to play out, Cancer, but we really truly never fully know. And at that point, it is a leap of faith. But we can gain nothing by taking no risks. And sometimes that's a problem. Love is all around with the nightingale spirit. Think of like, the support structures that are there. I think support structures are important for you, Cancer, right now, especially as you're considering major life shifts, changes, etc. Being out there with your butt hanging out in the wind is not a place that you feel comfortable with. So it seems like, having a good like safety net structure, especially from folks that care about you, is super important. And don't forget to have a little bit of fun along the way too. Like all work and no play makes for a dull, Cancer. And it is important that you're doing some things to keep the spirits up and in a positive mindset. So, the sandpiper, these are fun little critters that run around the beach, and they're cute and they're adorable and they have a lot of fun as they're trying to find their little snacks on the shoreline. So, as we're making big shifts in our life under structure with some decent predictions of success based off of hedging our bets, working within our means and parameters, Cancer, we can kind of predict successful outcomes, and we need to be having fun while we're doing that within our support networks, etc. So that's what I have for you, Cancer. Hopefully that was helpful to you. resonated with it. Take what resonates and leave the rest, of course, as with all signs readings. All right, we have Scorpio next. Scorpios. Where are my Scorpios? Where art thou, Scorpios? This is So Your Cancer Sisters reading. Hopefully it's all Cancers reading. Hopefully all our Cancers out there are getting something that's helpful here as we're kind of progressing through this next week. All right, Scorpios. Let's see what's going on here. Scorpios. And then we have Pisces. And then we'll be done with our all signs. I need to do timestamps, and I'm going to have to figure that one out. People really appreciate the timestamps when it comes to these big, long, 166 minutes thus far. So it's been a long all signs. Oh, right, Scorpios. Got the Queen of Pentacles here. King of Cups. Let's get this up just a little bit, actually. So in your love department, Scorpios, got the King of Cups, Three of Pentacles, maybe an opportunity for some collaboration, an opportunity to work with some folks towards a brighter future together. I think that has to do with, Scorpio, the willingness to commingle viewpoints. So at a certain point, we see things from our perspective, and there's a tendency to only focus on that. And at times, Scorpio, you may be viewing the relationship as like, well, this is the way it is, and it, to heck with what the other person wants. And we can kind of see that in this as well. It's like we're, with this King of Cups in this position, we're not really seeing the needs of the other people in this relationship. We're so focused and so deep into what we're needing or what our expectations are in this relationship that we're not able to see the other person and what they need. And this is really an opportunity, Scorpio, for you to get outside of that. Because one thing that's a superpower for you is you can get really deep into something. But that's also your kryptonite too, isn't it? You can get so deep into it that we can fail to see. It's like tunnel vision and barely seeing an outside perspective, which there's a lot out there, Scorpio. So as far as our love life, it's really essential that we are seeing the other person and truly stepping outside of our own deep perspective to spend time in the other person's shoes. Scorpio divorced him. Scorpios, they get a bad rap, right? By some folks. But, Scorpios can be very, very deep people to be in connection with. An unbalanced Scorpio can only see things from a narrow point of view. All right, so Scorpios, we know that based off of what we're seeing here, we kind of need to kind of open up our perspective and see the people in the connections that we're in. All right, let's look at our success here. Great potentiality for success. And that's what I was saying is like even in our love connections or Scorpio, you can be in very deep and powerful connections with people. provided things are in balance. And, I think that's really the initial aim here is, or maybe this is the initial benefit is like if you can make it a win-win situation for all parties involved here with the Six of Cups, that's really the key, and all you can do is show up and facilitate for that, but the rest is up to them. So let's say we're talking about your success, your wealth, or whatever. Like, it needs to be a holistic benefit. And if it's not, then we need to take steps to change that. I think for the most part, things are moving in a positive direction, but there are definitely some adjustments that could be made. And this is really to speed up the efficacy of your whatever, your career, your finances, whatever. So it's like fine tuning something here, Scorpio, which you can excel at by your observational skills and observing, um, all of the factors involved, and then make the necessary adjustments. And that, I think that comes through planning. So, being this hyper intensity, this hyper focus on, let's say, your success, finding the best ways to realize that, evaluating and measuring against what you know to be your desired result through goal setting. That's the key here. So, Scorpio, this isn't a wait and see kind of thing. This is kind of a take some sort of initiatory step. So if there's like maybe like a procrastination type of thing, you go, well, there's no real way to plan for this. We just need to wait and see, says the Scorpio, and then we'll make plans from there. The body cannot travel where the mind has never gone. So it seems like some pre-planning, Scorpio, would benefit you in some way, so that you can kind of deal with new factors effectively or whatever. So it's just a little bit of pre-planning and presupposition and just a basic standpoint from planning to operate off of is going to help you considerably, rather than waiting and seeing and hoping for the best. So that may be your situation. It may not. It's something that is showing up in the success category that bears pointing out. All right. So let's look at your career. And maybe this applies to, okay, well, we got a couple things going on here. And so this might not mean that you're just doing one thing for a career. It does appear to be something that maybe you're kind of juggling with, or considering making some decisions, especially when it comes to finances. So this could be a side gig. There might be something that you're wanting to do that you feel rather strongly about, but that's not really being fulfilled or addressed. It's just kind of somewhere in the background. It's like something that you feel strongly about that's caught in the whirlwind, and it's not really gaining any traction or getting anywhere. So it's like the someday I'll do the thing, but like unless we actually do something about it, it'll never actually happen. And this comes from planning, and setting like short and long-term goals so that we can actually start to get there. So once you weigh and measure the results against, measurable data, you can kind of move forward with it. You see what I'm saying there, Scorpio? All right. I think you do. Success is most assuredly guaranteed here. And I think that you can expect good results with proper planning, with actionable steps. But the tendency could be to just not do anything about it and hope for the best or wait and see, or when the time is right, you'll make that decision. But the time will never be right if we don't start with some sort of game plan. So, for example, if you start a business, Scorpio, with no business plan, probably 9 times out of 10, that business isn't going to be successful, or it will fail in some way. So that's just something to consider. It can't be willy-nilly. It has to be well thought out and well planned. All right. Point taken there. All right. Bring a gentle touch. That can be sometimes difficult. As we're dealing with all the ups and downs of life and people's bull crap and whatnot, it can make us a little bit jaded and frustrated and quick to snap at people. So it seems like we need to, just be a little bit more friendly and gentle with our behaviors, right? Because if there's ever time to be more gentle and loving in this world, it's right now, because it is a shit show. People being jerks to each other, and we don't need to be adding to it. Got the skunk spirit, know your worth. I think that's pretty self-evident. I think that, Scorpio, you know who you are, what you stand for, your place in this world. It's just sometimes planning and execution can be difficult because we kind of wait and see, wait until the last moment or something like that, where the hindsight is 2020. Well, if we could see that now and know our worth and treat ourselves accordingly, that would be a better result rather than waiting, right? So knowing now that you're deserving will benefit you in the future, rather than looking back on it going, man, I was worth it, I deserved better. You deserved better, or you deserve better. See the difference? One is actionable, one is now, versus coulda, shoulda, woulda in the future. All right, not helpful in the future. Take time out with the bear spirit. Bears hibernate. So this might mean some things in your life will be dealt with now, and you might table some things too, Scorpio. You might not be doing all the things now. You might put off some things that aren't really necessary right now. So you look at things, you triage them, you prioritize them accordingly, and then you take actionable steps. So it's important that you recognize some things we need to do right now, and they're important. But as you do so, understand your reasoning and justification for doing that, and the worthiness of that justification. And don't forget to be gentle too, especially with yourself. So that's what we have for you, Scorpio. Hopefully that resonated. We're moving on to our last sign, which is Pisces, and then we'll be done with our all signs. Hopefully that was helpful to you, Scorpios. If you're in the chat, let us know if that was helpful. Of course, take what resonates and leave the rest. All right. Lastly, we have Pisces. All right, Pisces. What's going on, Pisces? Hopefully you're doing well. This is our last sign for we might limit it to one all sign a week. maybe something like that, because this is a hell of a lot of time and effort. So here we go with our Pisces. This is interesting, Pisces. Piscean love interest here popping in. I kind of see you getting out of a place of being, for those Pisces that are single fish swimming in the sea. Looks like we're kind of meeting new people, getting outside of our singleness or solitary kind of way of life. And we're actually kind of aligning with someone who we find quite enjoyable to be around. So this could mean like, especially around Pisces season, right? So we're thinking maybe around our Valentine's Day or something like that. But it doesn't have to be then. It could be right now, in fact. And this could be very quick. And we'll see that with the swiftness card. You have an opportunity to like change the direction of your relationships and connections in a positive way. And you don't have to like go alone. You don't have to do the thing by oneself. So this is kind of indicative of the positive benefits of companionship. While it can be fulfilling to be autonomous and be by ourselves in a lot of ways, there are a lot of benefits, scientifically even, of positive, holistically healthy companionship. It does seem like something's happening here in the next, I would say, pretty quickly. We'll say the next month. We do have an ace here, that's one. And of course, coupled with the Eight of Wands, I would expect this to happen quite quickly, out of the blue, maybe even unexpectedly. So, some new potentials in your love life or your connections with your friends, people, family, etc. Success category here, we got the Seven of Cups, we got the Six of Cups here. And so all of this is seemingly in our heart space until we get to this Eight of Swords, which appears to be some sort of block. And this is us overcoming some blocks when it deals with our success. And so maybe this is a viewpoint that is a projection or programming from maybe past lives, but certainly younger years, or maybe even being brought up a certain way. So this could mean like some familial programming or religious programming that's to your detriment, that's kind of holding you back. And the advantage here is you working with this and looking at it and healing it, so that you can be successful. Because self-worth, the way we view ourselves, imposter syndrome, all of these things can have a very negative impact on our success. And it does look like that there's some shadow work here that we're looking at, overcoming some obstacles here with these Eight of Swords, so that interference piece isn't weighing so much on our success. We're working through that and we're healing that. Career-wise, here we have the World. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, Eight of Pentacles. And finally, the Fool card. I think that sometimes we can work ourselves into a hole. So we can focus so much on getting ahead that we really burn ourselves out. And that seems to be what's going on here, Pisces, is like we're so focused on making the next thing happen with the World card, making that new thing, developing our career, whatever, that we work ourselves to death. And we forget to have some fun. We forget to take a day off. We forget to go take a vacation. We forget to say enough is enough. One thing about it is, like, as we're trying to get ahead or be seen or whatever, get the promotion, get the raise, sometimes we forget that people get raises, people get promotions all the time just for existing and doing the job. That is, they do what's expected of them and they get recognized for it. And they don't have to literally bend over backwards to get that to happen. So the realization that there's only so much we can do and the rest is up to, let's say, the company or whatever. We have to focus on what's required, doing it well and not overdoing it. And sometimes the overdoing it without the reward or the results that we're hoping for does lead to burnout, Pisces, and it will drive us absolutely mad. So it's important that we're kind of like taking a sustainable approach with our career, with our success, and remembering to have a little bit of fun and not take things so damn seriously all the time, because that's not good for our own well-being. Health. Pardon me. Canary spirit, sing your own song here. So Canary's going to do their own tweeting, so to speak. And maybe that's just your unique approach to it. So it's kind of like art, isn't it, Pisces? Like your perception of art, your way of doing things may differ from the next person's to the next person's. But recognizing too at the same time that just because it's different doesn't make it less. And that's important to recognize here. And that's probably something we're going to have to sort out, because I feel like you've been told that there's a right way and a wrong way, and if you're not doing it the right way, as the gatekeepers like to put it, the people that made that shit up entirely themselves for their own benefit, that kind of thing, then they'll shame you for it or tell you that you're less, and they especially do it to young people, which is even more diabolical. Bobcat spirit, life is a mystery here. So even despite our best efforts, we just don't know, and the more we know about things, the more we don't know. You know what I mean? We realize that there's just some things that we could have no way of knowing. But one thing is true here, and the skunk spirits popped out again, is we do need to take stock in and recognize our own worth in this thing. Our own perceptions are real, they're valid. Our feelings are real and valid, right? So that's something that we probably need to look at. And it does point all around this here. So what I mean by that is, like, our success in love, our success in our careers, personal relationships, etc., does stem from maybe some things that we just need to look at within ourselves that are personal stumbling blocks for us in the way we think about ourselves and how we relate to other things or people. So some shadow work here. So that's what we have for Pisces. That is it for us with our all signs. Thank you so much. Hopefully that resonated with you, Pisces, and was helpful to you. Take what resonates and leave the rest. And feel free to leave us a comment and let us know how that affected you. All right, guys, that's it for right now. That was 190 minutes of reading. So we're going to call it a day here, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks to all of our wonderful moderators for hanging out with us. Thanks for the people who gave us the thumbs up. Thanks so much for that. You all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.